back to the Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. I got a video today from Jetta, and it's just how women are broken. Like, something inside women are broken that they don't even know how to be women anymore. And society's pushing, they think society's pushing them one way, but society's actually pushing them the other way. So, please like and subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. Let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
There's this assumption that just because someone is older, there's this ticking time clock of either is your purpose going to be fulfilled because you have a family or is it not? And it's like, as you grow older, you just realize it's not that big of a deal to hit these milestones that the world puts on you. It's like if she has these 3 kids and this $1 million husband, then it's fine. But if not, it's okay, and life moves on.
Well, I mean, it's not a societal pressure necessarily. There's a biological pressure too.
It is also a societal pressure.
Yes,
but you
can
it's
not
read the
just
comments. These are not about like her biology. It's the comments are about societally she's sturdy.
Well, the comments are not really part of the conversation.
But those are part of society because we're performing on a stage right now.
Yes, there is a societal, I suppose, some degree of societal expectation, but there's a biological reality that you have a limit in terms of when you can get pregnant and bring that child to term. Hold on, why don't we do this TTS while we're...
I personally am looking to freeze my eggs and then have surrogates and then start a family.
Why do women think it's so easy to just do that and boom, pop out your baby?
Family when I'm like 40. Okay,
but you have the money to do that. And it's not a guarantee that even works. See, that's a surrogate's very expensive.
So there's like boatloads of issues here. I was starting to make a list. It was starting to get real long. It kind of just looks like this sloppy mess. Basically, the whole thing is a disaster of what she just said. First of all, societal pressure is going the other way now.
I agree.
Societal pressure is not... It used to be societal pressure, get married, have kids, have a family, get married young, have your kids young. That used to be the societal pressure. That is not what's happening now. The societal pressure on women
Live
is
your life.
The societal pressure coming down from modern media, coming down from the feminist movement is you do you. You don't need a man. Freeze your eggs. Delay, delay, delay. Invest in your career. Do something for yourself. That man could leave you and you'll be all alone. It's not grounded in factual reality or data or statistics in terms of what leads to female happiness, in terms of who actually divorces whom, because we know that women divorce men far more often, and we know some of the reasons why that happens. So it's not grounded in truth. In the truth. It's grounded in this desire for women to be on this independent journey, which makes them less and less likely to pair with a man, which destabilizes the family unit, etc.
Yep.
That is the goal.
That is the goal. So you talk about
societal pressure. Yeah, societal pressure is toward what you're saying right now. The freeze the eggs, I'll get a surrogate. Also, there's something deeply broken in women. If your instinct is to say what she's saying here, there is nothing wrong with surrogacy although, listen, I'm learning a lot about surrogacy too. There's a lot of stuff there's some darkness in there. So I shouldn't say there's nothing wrong. But if you make a decision that you want to go the route of freezing your eggs, if you make a decision that you want to get a surrogate because you have no other option, there's women struggling. We have a fertility crisis in this country right now, in the world actually, for a number of reasons.
I think surrogate and just the way that women say surrogacy and stuff is hilarious. So because you got too old to be able to have kids, you need to use a young woman to produce your kids for you. Do you not realize the stupidity in that thought process? I'm going to do my thing and get old enough to where I can't have my own kids, but I need to use a young woman's womb to be able to produce my kids for me.
Women are struggling, having kids. So if that becomes a last resort option for you, you're trying to have a kid. Let's say you're married, you're trying. It's not happening for you. Then you go the route. Okay, let's try.
That I agree with. I agree with Jen on this one.
Let's try all this other stuff. They have all this fancy technology out on. I'm not going to tell you what to do at all in any respect. That's your body. It's your family. It's your decision making. But if you on day one are saying, oh, I'm just going to get a surrogate. I'm just going to freeze my eggs. I'm just going to have kids at 40. You are detached from your own. It's like you couldn't get farther from the womb. your own womb. Like, you are completely detached from motherhood, from the joys of motherhood, from, you know, the idea that you would want to nurse your own baby, from the intimacy, a different kind of intimacy of that experience with a child that you're growing inside your body. Your number one instinct should be want to do that naturally, and should be to want to do that the way that God, the universe, humanity intended. That should be your number one instinct. If you can't make that happen, I understand the pain, by the way. I have friends that have gone through the pain of not being able to do that. And you go and you try to figure out another route. That's very different. But for you to want to skip what's most natural to your body and most natural to your anatomy, skip all of that, avoid all of that on purpose, and go to what's much more detached from your body.
You don't carry the child. I think it's using your eggs, but you're using some random guy's sperm now. And like, I don't think it's the same type of motherhood. This child did not grow in you. They are not literally a part of you, like when you were giving birth to a child.
That's odd to me. That tells me that something's breaking in women. They're buying the talking points. And by the way, because she is so...
They're not buying the talking points. They've been deep-throating these talking points like for the last 20 years.
Sexually loose, and because she is treating sex in such a flippant way, and because there's such a deep lack of intimacy in her own sexual experiences on a routine basis, I guarantee you those two things are connected. Okay? Just think about what I said. And think about it on a smaller scale with a woman with a body count of maybe 50 or 30 or 20, because she is disconnected from her body, her womb as well. Biology plays a role in all of this.
That's why men don't want 304s or women with a lot of body count. You know, like, I love how Jetta's explaining it, because I love how Jetta's doing this, because she's going through the woman's side and just like thinking through her process, where I do agree the Pearl usually just uses the talking points, and I don't know. I feel more comfortable listening to a woman like this than to Pearl.
And the less and less close you get to what nature intended, the more problematic you're going to be in multiple ways of your life.
Correct.
It just is. It's going to.
That's why I love bringing her on and putting her videos on. The way she explains to women, I think it's the correct way. Pearl just kind of like shouts at women and just tells them things, where she's going through her own thought process of everything and explaining that, and explaining everything that encompasses those thought processes, which I think what most women kind of need. You know, the talking points of men don't really penetrate women in the way men want to penetrate women, right? So
going to manifest in odd relationship dynamics. It's going to manifest in odd mother-child dynamics. It just is. It just is.
I agree.
What else was I going to say here? Also, all those things are not a guarantee.
No.
So you can't want, egg freezing and, implantation and all of that stuff and surrogacy, and there's no guarantee there. So if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to do that at 40, well, then if you really want kids, then you're banking on that, right?
Yeah.
You're putting yourself outside the window where there's going to be.
Yeah, you're banking on a 5 to 10% chance now. That's what you're banking on. Like, to set yourself up to end up with only a 5 to 10% chance that costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars, you fucked yourself. You really did.
Be a lot of room to breathe in the trial and error years. So this is just bad advice. It's just bad advice. And if she wants to do this with her life, fine. But if she's given this out like this should be the new direction that women look to and what women pursue, bad advice. Very, very bad advice. Going to lead to a lot of deeply miserable women.
It is.
Who ultimately do want children and do want families. And this delay is going to hurt them in very big physical and emotional.
It's funny how many women in their 30s still don't want kids, but as soon as they hit 35, that urge becomes so strong that they change their tune. Not all women, but a good chunk of women do, if they didn't have kids already at that age. It's such a biological factor in women to have kids or want kids, or the urge to want kids and to raise a family.
Emotional ways. Okay, let's keep playing.
Like, so most women could not afford to do that.
But yeah, so that's why I'm saying I am.
Oh, actually, let's go to
I'm not
stop that. 120/30. Let's go to 120/30.
For a lot of women, it's not necessarily like a mandatory part of their lives to start a family anymore.
No, of course not. It's not mandatory.
It's cool if we do, but it's not really a goal I aim for to become a milestone in my life.
Would you agree, though, that generally speaking, most women want to have a family, want to have kids? Not all, but most women.
I don't know if most women right now want to have a family.
Okay, most.
I think
more
you
than
want
50%.
me to say that, but I don't think a lot of women, especially now that they have their own jobs and are able to do more things with their lives and also have kids at a later age, a lot of women don't really want kids right now.
That's not true.
Are you sure you want kids right now?
So this is diluted. This is diluted.
Truly is.
This woman is disconnected from her body. She's disconnected from her biology. She's disconnected from her biological nature. It's because of how she's treating sex. I feel very comfortable making that assessment. She's made a living out of this fickle interaction, out of this, she talks about, doing trains. This has become a big game to her. But what's getting lost in that is her connection to her womanhood, to her ability to bear children, to what that all means, to the intimacy and sacredness of that.
I mean, if a woman's getting trains ran on her constantly, yeah, I can see why she's so disconnected from her womb.
Process. So she's also disconnected from the reality that most women do want children. Not all, again, but most women do want children. Most women will say, oh, I can't do it now. And why is that? Because this is what happens. You get out of, and let me tell you this from the perspective of somebody who was an achiever growing up in life. I always was like very diligent in school. And part of it was just because I was wired that way. I was like a little OCD, honestly. So I was very diligent in school, came out, excelled, valedictorian of my college class. And then there was this expectation that I was going to do something. To be perfectly honest with you, I didn't want to do all that much. I loved school. I loved learning. I think
a lot of women in her boat, they actually don't want to do these career paths.
I wasn't competitive in the sense of like, now I have to get the internship. I didn't do one internship in school. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't just waiting to get into corporate America. Couldn't stand it. Took one corporate job. I was out. So there was this expectation that was placed on me. I went to graduate school. I went for 1 year. I hated it so much. I left. I was like, I don't want to do this. Because for me, it was about the experience, but I didn't have this end goal all the time. But what is expected of women is you go through school. It's like, oh, you're expected to go through school and excel. Then you oftentimes come out, you've got debt, you've got all sorts of things. Then it's expected, okay, you're on your own 2 feet. You got to go get a job. You invest in a career. You're paying off your debt.
And then that's the trap for women. Going to go in debt to get these degrees and being in massive debt when they can't get a job in those fields. This is the biggest trap for women, and this is why a lot of women are going to go homeless. They went for degrees that literally are not money-making degrees because they wanted those degrees to be cool or woke or whatever the hell those degrees are made for in a fucking sense. And then now they don't make the money that they want to make, but they have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. A lot of women are in this boat.
Now you're in the grind. Now it's expected of you to climb that ladder. You've got to pay your rent. You're taking care of yourself. So it's always this idea of like, kids are over here, right? Oh, I have to be financially stable. Now comes in all of that language about don't lean on a man. Don't rely on a man. So they teach women to be afraid that if they leave that career or if they make a choice to say, I don't really want to do this, I'm just going to let, I met this great guy, I'm going to let him do it. That's somehow a dangerous, vulnerable position for that woman to be in. So society preaches, no, you stay in it. You earn your own money. You do all this. And what you have is these women who get to a late age. Suddenly they wake up, they're 30 and they're like, oh my God, I want 3 kids. Like, how am I going to, I need to meet someone today. And if I meet somebody, I'm going to have to date them for a while first. And then we're going to get engaged. And then we're going to get married. Oh, this is like the timeline starts to panic them. And they're not 20 anymore. And they're starting to, realize that the 22-year-olds are out there, some of them looking for the same thing. So this whole structure gets in your head. And there's these societal, you want to talk about societal expectations? That's the societal expectation. I lived it. So, and even though I wasn't hardwired to want, I really wasn't. I was very, people see this fancy career, but I I was not hardwired to achieve in that sense. I really wasn't. Other than like personal achievement in school, because I just really liked it. I like to be a student. I could have been a student forever, you know. That's what happens to women. That's what happens to women. So it's not about, oh, women don't want kids. It's that they do want them, but they're told that their path needs to do all of this other stuff first. And then that's why the wall comes and the panic comes. It's real. It's real. People who care about women should understand that stuff is real, that they experience. And what I'm trying to do is prevent that, not pretend it doesn't exist. If you like the short clip and want to watch the full episode.
How's that chow? I love Jetta. She lived the life. I mean, she did marry a little bit later in life, but she was pretty much, I think a virgin when she got married, or maybe one body at most. I know she has a kid. She has a wonderful career. I think she lives the life that I think most women kind of want. And she did it about the right way. She didn't sleep around and try to work for her career and then all of a sudden, boom, she got married and tried to fix everything else afterwards. No, she went for her husband and then did things on the side because her husband took care of things. This is what confuses me about modern women. If the man takes care of everything and you have kids and your kids start going to school, you literally get to have a career. You can have whatever career you want, especially nowadays in the digital age. So I think it's perfectly okay to pause for a few years or a year or two to start your family, and then you can start building everything else along with it, because one, you have stable income taking care of you, your husband. You have great kids already. You don't have to worry about that biological need or rush, and you can start your own career digitally or podcasts, and just there's so many things nowadays. So there's no reason to put it off unless you're a high-powered lawyer or something like that. But even then, the high-powered lawyers are quitting at 30 and starting families because they'd rather do that than be high-powered lawyers. Well, society's flipped women upside down. They truly are lost of what their own biology is. Please like, subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. It's chow time.